Bulldog fans, you can finally take a breath of fresh air because our former Bulldog quarterback Dak Prescott has secured his spot as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Prescott managed to throw for over 300 yards with 2 touchdowns this past weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers, not to mention his second winning drive of his career at the very end of it. The Cowboys are at an impressive 8-1 record, which is the first time they've looked this good since I was 1 year old in the 1995 season when they went on to win the Super Bowl. Prescott's the first rookie to lead his team on an 8-game winning streak since Big Ben Roethlisberger. Veteran quarterback Tony Romo has been cleared to play, but has said earlier this week that he is perfectly fine with being Prescott's backup. Owner Jerry Jones also took Prescott's side and said that they will continue to ride the hot hand. Now down to college, the MSU football team dropped a tough loss on the road this past weekend against Alabama. The Bulldogs struggled on both sides of the ball, and let's not get started on the special teams. Junior punter Logan Cook was injured, and Weston Graves was missing field goals. These disadvantages made Coach Dan Mullen have to go on 4th down more times than most coaches are comfortable with. It wasn't a complete shutout, though, for Bulldogs, as they were able to kick a field goal in the second half. But that wouldn't be enough because the final score was 51-3. Despite this loss to the #1 team in the nation, I will add, the Bulldogs look to play what seems to be a good home matchup against Arkansas. As far as their postseason future, the Maroon and White will have to win out the rest of the season against Arkansas and Ole Miss to make their 8th consecutive bowl appearance. Now to another sport that we're transitioning into. The Mississippi State Lady Bulldogs basketball team won over Maine 87-43 this past Saturday at the championship game of the Maine tip-off tournament. The Lady Bulldogs came off swinging as they would start off the game 15-0 in the first 4 minutes of play and had a 46-23 lead at halftime. Maine could have put both of their game points together from both halves against only our halftime points, but they still would have lost. And it's all thanks to the Bulldogs' efforts of Victoria Vivens, who led the team scoring 26 points. Next Wednesday, the Lady Bulldogs will face the Tulane Green Wave in Biloxi, Mississippi. Now on to the men. With the football season coming to an end, basketball is finally back in Starkville, and I am so excited. The Bulldogs opened up their season this past Friday against Norfolk State. In a very competitive game, the Bulldogs started off pretty hot from the arch. The game was very competitive throughout both halves. There's a couple of threes by Mario Kegler and Quindarian Weatherspoon as well right here. Weatherspoon, actually freshman Tyson, I would add, had a solid performance in his debut. And sophomore Quindarian Weatherspoon had a career night in his second opener against Norfolk State as he racked up 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists off his 30 minutes of action. Here's what he had to say about his performance.
We came in with the mindset just trying to get a win. I wasn't trying to do nothing spectacular, nothing like that. I just wanted to get a win. I was going to do whatever it takes to get my team win.
The Bulldogs are going to face Central Florida tomorrow at 4 on ESPN2. Now let's go over to volleyball. It's getting close to that time when MSU Fall Sports will play their longtime rival, and we know it, Ole Miss. To start off, it will be the Lady Bulldogs volleyball team tonight at 7 p.m. at Newell Grissom. MSU looks to better their SEC record with a win against the rival school after winning both meetings last season against Ole Miss. We're going to take a little step back to college football, and we've all heard the term and the phrase, any given Sunday. But what about any given Saturday? Because college football's rankings went haywire this past weekend. Let's start it off with the fact that the #2 team, the #3 team, and the #4 team, that's Michigan, Clemson, and Washington, all lost, which probably made a great day for the analysts at work for the college football playoff. To go on with that, 8 of the top 25 teams lost, and 5 of those, including those that I just mentioned, were in the top 10. With only a few weeks left in the college football season, those 3 spots in the playoffs, because we're not even going to count Alabama, could be within reach for several big-name programs. Now to some local news. On Monday, a couple of days ago, MSU students partnered up with the Special Olympics of Mississippi in the 2016 Unified Egg Bowl. This is the second year that this thing has been run. The event was a flag football game where students from the university were paired up with students of special needs. The game was against none other than Ole Miss. We've been hearing that name over and over again. The game took place across from MSU's campus, behind us right here in the studio right now in the Wise Center on the intramural fields. These students got their chance to go out and play the sport that they loved and also got the chance to raise money for the Special Olympics. The famous Maroon Band, Bully, and the Pom Squad were all there in support of their team. This event has been able to raise over $15,000 in the last 2 years. The MSU would go on to win the game 42-18. Chris Upchurch, a special education teacher at the Leake Central High School of Carthage, Mississippi, had this to say on the win.
Second touchdown by 1 point. to come back tonight and waited a whole year to avenge the loss. It's pretty special.
And what a great way to raise money in a great way for both, even though the rivalry is so vast, for us to partner up together and raise money for a great cause. That's all for sports. I'm going to toss it back over to the news desk for your look at weather.